Mike Tyson terminated Jake Paul after he chose to cancel their bout immediately after the press conference. Tyson had merely asked Jake a few straightforward questions before mentioning his want to change a few regulations for their November 15th battle. And Jake reacted as if someone had just turned his world upside down. He began yelling at Tyson. The suggestion of modifying the rules was a personal attack. But let us not forget, Jake was almost on his knees in March 2024, pleading with Tyson to fight him. He even accepted to fight under Tyson's rules and signed the contract without hesitation. Tyson didn't have any precise rules in mind at the time, but that doesn't mean he can't change them today. So let's speak about that press conference at Fanatics Fest on August 18th, which was meant to be business as normal. A little excitement, some typical trash words. Oh no, Jake Paul had to make it something to remember. Instead of simply following the script and engaging in the usual pre-fight conversation, Jake opted to go all out on a quest to verbally demolish Mike Tyson. It wasn't sufficient for him to simply make fun. Jake insulted Tyson's age and called him washed up. Then, as if that had not been enough, he targeted Tyson's health issues. He is comparable to an overly confident child who believed he was capable of taking down a legend using words alone. Jake was clearly not just attempting to sell the fight. He was trying to emotionally break Tyson prior to them even entering the ring. But here's the deal. Jake had clearly forgotten who he was dealing with. Tyson, who once had the world's most feared fists, did not flinch. While Jake took off like a firecracker, Tyson remained there, cool as ever before, taking everything in. Not one word of criticism, not even a tick. Tyson was allowing Jake to do everything he wanted, saving every remark for the time when he might unleash his true response. Jake may have thought he triumphed in the mind games, but in reality, he was preparing himself for an unpredicted fall. Tyson's quiet was not indicative of defeat. It was the calm before the storm, and Jake was not prepared for it. The battle is off. As Jake's outburst continued, the mood in the room began to shift. What started off as a routine press event quickly grew into something far more aggressive. The audience was also catching up on it. Jake's confidence started to decline, especially when Tyson, with the tiniest of smiles, hinted at modifying a couple of the fight's regulations. Now let me remind you, it wasn't a huge announcement, but it hurt harder than everything Jake had served up. Jake received a lesson in psychological warfare from a master. The energy in the room shifted, and Jake was no longer the large and powerful wolf. He had been the one at risk of getting eaten. Jake made a tremendous error by disregarding Tyson's strategic approach. He was unaware that Tyson started playing the long-range strategy from the beginning. That press conference wasn't only to hype the fight. It was the first round, and Tyson controlled without throwing a punch. The rules that Tyson introduced threw Jake Paul into a frenzy. Tyson's first rule was to permit only knockout victories. That's correct. No more getting by with technical knockouts or decision wins. The only way to claim victory was to defeat your opponent. Now consider it. This guideline has been tailored to someone like Tyson. His entire career is centered around throwing that one devastating punch that makes his opponent run away. What about Jake? There had always been doubts regarding the truthfulness of his triumphs, and now Jake was facing a scary reality. He would have to deliver an ultimate knockout over one of history's greatest punchers. Tyson wasn't satisfied with one single surprise. He had another trick up his sleeve. 2 more rounds. That's correct. The battle, which was initially designed to test both men to their limits, had been extended, which made it even more difficult. Tyson made it unambiguous that this was not going to be a quick, stunning conflict. This proved to be a severe fitness test, a war of destruction in which only the strongest would manage to survive. Tyson, who has fought some of history's most powerful hitters, saw 2 more rounds as nothing. And for Jake, whose loyalty to the sport was constantly questionable, this was an awful dream come true. Tyson's statements had a sudden major impact. Jake's unshakable confidence and confident smile vanished in a split second. Jake Paul, the YouTuber, who shifted to become a boxer and has built an entire reputation around bravery, looked completely terrified. He immediately canceled the fight, claiming that there was misconduct and that the new rules were illegal. Jake's unexpected choice to cancel was not a deliberately planned move. It was his chance to get away from a conflict he knew he would not be able to win. The reality was painfully plain. Jake seemed frightened. The possibility of fighting Tyson in the ring under these fresh circumstances had pulled Jake's strong guy personality split, exposing the holes. His instinctive impulse to pull the plug was not based on legality. It was all about survival, plain and simple. The public reaction was quick and rude. Jake's already fragile credibility fell much further. The story had altered. Jake was not the courageous fighter he claimed to be. Rather, he was revealed as a person who bit off far more than he was capable of, and was currently desperately attempting to avoid any repercussions. Tyson's rule modifications did not simply alter the fight. They cracked Jake's cover, exposing him to be a man entirely out of his element. Why would he waste his time with a person like Jake Paul? Particularly when the rumors on the street indicate that Jake's victories may not be as legitimate as he would like us to believe. Yes, suspicions have circulated that Jake, our YouTube sensation-turned-boxer, may have been bribing referees in order to get the TKO victory that has significantly padded his record. The accusations are not new, but their timing couldn't have been better for Jake. The press conference had previously shaken him tremendously, and now that all eyes were on him, these rumors began to acquire real ground. Suddenly, everybody was going over all of his previous fights, examining each choice, every TKO with a keen eye. People began to wonder if Jake's complete career had been not strong enough. Boxing is more than simply fame and money. It is about raw skill, hard effort, and the ability to absorb a punch and continue moving forward. Tyson maintains these attributes throughout his career. So Jake, with his glamorous lifestyle and vast wealth, could get around it all by bribing referees. As the rumors circulated, Jake's public image worsened. So let's understand that this wasn't just celebrity gossip. The rumors were actually there at all times, particularly after Jake won by TKO. Even his victory over Mike Perry left him with an unsettling sensation, as if things didn't match up. The way a few of those fights were called off, and the judgments that appeared a bit too convenient, all began to make sense after Tyson dropped the KO-only rule. The effect on Jake's character was immediate and severe. Jake then realized he wasn't simply battling Tyson, but trying to salvage his entire career. Even inside the boxing world, there was considerable opposition. Fighters who had fought their way up the ladder and who had suffered defeats and recovered stronger began to perceive Jake as a person who was attempting to steal his way toward the top. By canceling the fight, Jake effectively requested the public's dissatisfaction with himself. Let's be honest. These long-awaited fights aren't cheap. Cash is spent on promotions, and you can't just walk away from a battle for no reason. I mean, if Tyson wasn't canceling while facing serious health difficulties, who does Jake think has the ability to pull off something like that? Do you honestly think Tyson will just let the guy walk off after this? No chance. It is not yet over. Now, that has brought us to the end of this video. What are your opinions on the fight? Who would win the fight if the fight is held? Write your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's meet again with another interesting video.